Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in Jew. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome to Saturday's edition of the dceu Daily, and it's jam-packed. RT Snyder Cut, the account that has got us all in order from the Snyder Cut platform. You know, we weren't organised before, but RT Snyder Cut has really got us organised. And yesterday they got us all to tweet, post images and tweet Warner Brothers Entertainment about how badly and why we want the Snyder Cut. They got us trending worldwide. It was amazing. I retweeted loads. I did one of my own posts and then I retweeted a bunch of others. I must have retweeted 100, and it's absolutely fantastic. But that's not all we're going to be talking about today. Christopher McQuarrie talks about his take of a Man of Steel sequel and his idea for a Green Lantern movie as well. And even more than that, Jay Oliver is back on Twitter sitting down, release the Snyder Cut haters. Wow, this guy is the gift that keeps on giving, and we'll be talking about him as well. But first of all, I just want to give my gratitude across to RT Snyder Cut. I don't know who's behind it, but I'd say a couple of months ago this account on Twitter was set up. I'm not sure if they've got a website as well, but basically they've organised us. It's been absolutely fantastic. They've got so many followers now. But as I say, what they've actually done, they got this, release the Snyder Cut, movement in order. We're organised now, and what they planned for yesterday was amazing. It was all about starting at the same time globally, and as I say, they got us moving. And there was some amazing tweets, and I'm actually going to read some of them out for you in a moment. But first, I want to talk about Christopher McQuarrie, the director of Mission Impossible Fallout. So he cast Henry Cavill right in this role as the villain, and it was absolutely brilliant. But during the build-up to that, Henry Cavill was talking a lot about bringing Christopher McQuarrie in to direct a Man of Steel sequel. Henry had a lot of ideas. And here's an article from a Superman homepage. If you're a Superman fan, you should be subscribing to Superman homepage. The guy who runs it, I think he's Australian. He's really good. But here we are. Christopher McQuarrie comments on his Superman movie pitch. Director Christopher McQuarrie has revealed that he and Henry Cavill developed an idea for a Superman movie sequel while filming Mission Impossible Fallout together. McQuarrie took to Twitter to explain that the original idea, which was pitched to Warner Brothers, was ultimately passed on. The studios have never cared for my original ideas, he explained. They prefer that I fix their broken ones. The pitch tied in with another idea McQuarrie had for a Green Lantern film, stating it was too complicated to explain on social media. That means he doesn't want to go into it. Maybe he's not allowed to go into it. Who knows? Too complicated to explain. It tied into Superman movie that Cavill and I were proposing. No takers. While Warner Brothers didn't directly pass on the ideas, McQuarrie explains they just never took up the ideas and moved forward with them. They never said no, they just never moved on it. This was just before Fallout was released, and no, I would not reconsider. There's too many other things I want to do. Very, very interesting. Well, the thing is there's no point you reconsidering, Chris, because they ignored your take. They weren't interested. They didn't want you to make it. So why would this be the case? I think at that time, the Justice League kerfuffle was still very fresh. I don't think Walter Hamada was really settled down yet in place. And I just think they weren't ready to talk about Superman at that time. I think they will make Superman movies. He will cameo. I don't know if Henry's going to play Superman. I said it a few days earlier this week. I did a whole video why I think Henry won't play Superman again. But we shall see. So very, very interesting revelations. And coming up next, we're going to talk Jay Oliver. I love that guy. Yes, Jay Oliver has been getting into it over on Twitter with another hater. And it's just such fun to see Jay sit these idiots, these so-called experts that seem to know everything. So this is Thomas, right? He's at Rain Man. Oh, don't go over and start picking on him. Not worth it. But I'm going to tell you the conversation. So Thomas starts like this. Well, he goes on and on before Jay gets involved. But this is just before Jay gets involved. So you understand what a cut of a film is, right? Just because there's a collection of clips doesn't mean there's a full film. But thanks for reinforcing him saving face. And here's Jay. I'm very familiar with the cut of a film. I've got like 20 of them under my belt, just on my animated stuff. Please educate me if I'm wrong about what a cut is, because no one's argued with my definition since I've been a director back in 1998. When did I exactly argue with a cut of a film, what a cut of a film was? You said that a collection of clips doesn't mean there's a full film. I'm telling you that the whole film was shot, the version before Joss. That's what I responded to. And he's actually screenshot his first comment as well, Jay. It's hilarious. So Thomas comes back and says, you're ignoring the fact that I never claimed you didn't know what a cut of a film was, but you seem very selective in what you're choosing to reply to with your I'm a director card. Jay Oliver, you lost me. I was saying that your claim that a collection of clips isn't a finished film is false. It's more than a collection of clips. The movie was shot. Okay, so you're saying the film was shot, therefore there's a cut. Then I'm wrong on that part. You're ignoring the part where Snyder is trying to save face, his reputation. Nope, you're wrong again, Jay Oliver says. So distancing yourself from a film that was critically panned and has your name attached to it isn't a way of saving face, reputation. Do you know the DGA rules about who is required to get a screen credit? Do you know this attempts to bring up technicalities on discussion about a film that you're saying was completely shot by him, with his work still attached to the final product, does nothing? Question mark. You brought up about how his name was on it, and I brought up the technicalities about who gets credit on a film for doing what. The guidelines are very strict. Thomas, guidelines are strict, but I said his name was attached, not that he was the director, as in his name is known to be involved in the film. Jay Oliver. I'm referring to the fact that although his name is attached, the final film isn't what he had intended nor shot. But DGA guidelines protect directors from being bamboozled by the studio. But there are ways around it, which was the case with Justice League. Jay Oliver again. That's why Ron Howard had to shoot a certain percentage of the solo film in order to get credit after Lord and Miller left. And of course, this is very, very, very true. This is back to the day of Superman 2 and Richard Donner. Richard Donner had shot so much of that film, so Richard Lester had to come in and he had to shoot a certain percentage. So on those credits, when it says directed by Richard Lester, he couldn't be done unless Richard had actually directed a certain percentage. And I don't know what that percentage is. And those DGA rules have always been the same. So it's just funny to see Jay Oliver sit these idiots down. He gets into an argument. He's trying to say that Zack Snyder's trying to save face. The Justice League theatrical cut is nothing to do with Zack Snyder. A couple of his scenes are there, but the film wasn't what it was intended. You know, Joss Whedon reshot many things. It put the film in a different narrative, totally different to what Zack Snyder would have done. So, mate, you're talking bollocks. Well done, Jay Oliver, for sitting another of these idiots down. Yes, so I'm just on RT Snyder Cut's account over on Twitter. Please follow it at RT Snyder Cut. If you care about this, if you want the film released, you know, these people are not saying they're the leaders of this movement, but they come up with great ideas. They don't want negativity or hatred or, you know, attacking our people who don't believe in what we believe in. This is about the movement. This is about getting the film released. And this, you know, this Twitter account is absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to read you some of the tweets from yesterday's kind of organised tweeting for release, the Snyder Cut. I think this is the nice cast, at the nice cast. I think it's amazing that Release the Snyder Cut is trending. Justice League will make for an amazing documentary one day. For those who aren't as aware, I hope everyone brings this energy when Army of the Dead releases, because supporting that would really put WB on notice. So that was brilliant. This is from Scott Weinberg. As I thought, Snyder shot only half the movie, and then Whedon took over after Snyder had to step away. But it seems that Zack Snyder delivered a full, rough cut. And if I were a big fan of this movie, I definitely want to see that version too. Scott Weinberg again. I don't know who he is. I'll check in a minute. But studios are often very reluctant to admit their mistakes, which is why it took 26 years for WB to release the Donner Cut. But all that situation wasn't Warner Brothers' fault. That was the Salkinds' fault. They're the ones who fell out with Richard Donner. So it's not really the same thing. I don't think that's true. A finishing different cut for a home video release would still cost WB a lot of money. They may consider it a good investment anyway. Who knows? Yeah, so that's Scott Weinberg. So who is Scott Weinberg? Film writer, yeah, nerdist, yeah. So I don't know what he knows. So, but it's good to have a blue check mark talking about this anyway. Right, Twitter moment. This is a bit awesome as well. It's been more than a year since Justice League hit the big screen, but some fans are still holding out hope that Warner Bros. Will unveil the film's elusive Snyder Cut. Here's why Justice League fans are calling for an alternative release cut. So, who actually posted this article? Should we click onto it? This is great not being scripted, isn't it? Right, I think this is actually from Twitter Moments. So, in 2017, filmmaker Zack Snyder stepped down from the Justice League following a family tragedy in the film, which was taken over by Joss Whedon in Snyder's absence, received mixed reviews by fans and critics alike. After its release, fans called on Warner Bros. To unveil a cut of the film that Snyder reportedly made but never released. More than a year later, many still demand to see it. In 2017, Zack Snyder stepped away from Justice League following the death of his daughter. Buffy the Vampire Slayer creator Joss Whedon took the reins. Yeah, you see, in here, right, they've got some of the posts. Zack Snyder is stepping down from Justice League following a family tragedy. Joss Whedon is set to finish the film. Right, this is interesting. Now, I've always liked Charles Roven, right? But this is Charles talking about, this was 26th of May 2017. Producer Charles Roven talks about how Joss Whedon stepped in to help Zack Snyder finish the film. Now, listen to this. This is interesting.
Is there anything that you could tease about Justice League?
Well, I think you've seen some things out there, all right? And we're excited about the film. Of course, you know, we were saddened by the events that caused Zack Snyder.
Sorry about that, it's buffering. Let's hope it continues. This is technical faults, right? This is technical faults. This is ridiculous. I can't
have to leave and turn the reins over to Joss Whedon, but he was already working with us on some of the scenes for the additional photography that we're going to be doing shortly.
That is absolutely outrageous. A bit of a technical glitch there, but you get the picture, right? So basically, Charles Roven, who I've always really respected, he's been in the business for years. I always thought he was a good man. Obviously, Charles Roven is just a producer, but what he's saying there, you know, obviously, I'm going to assume Zack wanted to step away, but was kind of assured that basically Joss would just come in to finish his film, put the editing together, make the music was recorded, you know, and that would be that, and it would be Zack Snyder's film. But instead they said, you go, Zack, you know, you mourn for your daughter. Right, that bastard's gone now. Let's film some new scenes. And that's what they did. Your daughter's killed herself, for fuck's sake. And they stab you in the back. Absolutely outrageous. I don't blame Warner Brothers as a whole entity, but the people were involved. It's changed now. A lot of people have moved away. We've got a new CEO. So I trust this will never happen again. But they must fix this. They must release the Snyder Cut, because things like this are absolutely despicable. So here's some box office. Is this early box office? Oh, these are just Twitter moments, right? So very, very interesting. So let's have a look. It's pretty amazing, really. There's a lot of retweets. I just want to... Kevin Slater, since everyone is talking about it, I'll join in. I'm all for WP Pictures to release the Snyder Cut. I'll definitely buy the 4K version. Wow. So will I. I'll buy 6. I'll buy 600. You know, Warner Brothers, sell them all to me. You see, sometimes I get a bit annoyed because they keep on posting that picture of Henry's upper lip, and I do find it insulting for Henry. And I know the point, but enough already that he's a human being. You know, there's other ways of pushing this narrative, right? A special shout out to Ciaran Hinds, our Steppenwolf, the first one to say that he disapproved the theatrical cut and wants to see the original movie. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I could read all these all days. Darkseid, Green Lanterns, Ares versus Darkseid, Iris West, a genuine Superman, a cyborg storyline, an authentic Batman, a vision by the great Zack Snyder. DC fans expected a breathtaking movie, and we did not receive. WB Pictures, please hear the voice of the fans and release the Snyder Cut. Right. Let's one more, and then I want to talk about Joker movie. Sorry about this, but I think they're worth reading. Right. President Abu Nas, whoever that is. Anyway, there has never been a better time to give us fans the complete vision of the filmmaker who worked so hard to bring Superman, something different and amazing, to the screen. Millions of people around the world want to see Justice League the way we was meant to. Warner Brothers released the Snyder Cut. And you know what? I could go on and on and on and on and on. But I want to talk about Joker movies. I'm going to do this without pausing this time. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can find it on my... So basically, I mean, there are other pictures, but this is the one I saw. Empire have released a bunch. Basically, they're doing their whole push now for the Joker movie, right? So let's have a look at that. Look at that. That, you can see that. That is awesome, right? I can't wait for you guys to see this movie. I mean, what can I say about Joker movie which won't get me into trouble? I'm not going to say anything. I know the bio's been released. I think I read it out here as well. And there are elements of truth to it. Look, this film is going to change the way comic book adaptations are done in the future. Do you know when you're young kids, right, and you're desperately trying to sneak into an R-rated film? I think R-rated comic book adaptations are the future. First off, it's a place Disney can't go to because they're Disney, right? So I think this is a big thing. But I don't just think the others are not going to work and it's all R-rated, but I think they're going to become very, very big. Because I think once you've seen this film, it's going to be very difficult for you to sit there and watch a Marvelised film. Even when you think about Shazam, people accuse Shazam of being a Marvelised film, but it's not. There are really scary elements of that film mixed in with great fun and comedy and character development. And I think this is the future of making comic book movies. But Joker movie will change everything. The commentary of male mental health, the commentary of who the Joker really is and where he begins from. This is not the origin story. This is an Elseworld Joker. So you people say, I don't want an origin story of the Joker. This is one version of the Joker. Sit back down. Don't miss out on this event. This is massive. This is the way they used to make films. Writing a good story, developing great characters, casting great actors. And when I say actors, I mean masculine and feminine. I don't just mean, when I say actors, I mean both genders, so we can get that clear. Because a lot of women don't like being called actresses. I don't know why, but they don't. They like to be called actors. So that's what we're going to call them, because we don't want to disrespect people, do we? And so I think once you've seen this film, your mentality will change. And I think, as I say, you won't be able to just sit there and watch Iron Man make a few quips and things like that. You're really going to want more of Joker movie. And I think what Walter Hamada is doing and Peter Safran, this team, you know, with the Flash announcement this week, it's all very, very exciting. And I can't wait to see these projects unravel and to see them on the big screen and to see the set pics. I don't care if they leak or if they're officially released. I'm not going to bitch. I think it's petty. But, yeah, I really am so excited. So what do you think? Did you get involved in RT Snyder Cut's big movement? big idea to post at the same time why you want the Snyder Cut released. It's a great time because we know we've got a new CEO at Warner Brothers, and people say, why would Warner Brothers care about this? Because it's one of the biggest mistakes they ever made. It's the biggest fallout that's ever happened. Bad publicity isn't good for any company. They're going to have to release this film. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how long they take. It makes no sense. Just release this film. People say to me, do you think it's going to be released? I think 6 months ago I had my doubts, but now I think the movement's really organised. Some big media outlets are talking about this, and I think basically Warner Brothers are in a corner, swizzled up, not knowing what to do. But with new leadership, Anne Sarnoff knows. Anne Sarnoff's been at the BBC. She's worked within Wall Street. She knows there's no escape from this situation. Kevin Sujihara and what he did was so wrong. No one's ever done this before. I mean, you could compare it to Solo, but at the end of the day, Solo, a Star Wars story, Ron Howard was able to go in there and make a cohesive movie, whatever you think about it. This was cheap. This was despicable. They were using fake backgrounds, the upper lip on Cavill, everything. It was rushed. It should never have been released. This is Warner Brothers we're talking about. They shouldn't have done that to Zack Snyder. So at the end of the day, this has to be repaired. The fans are not going to let go. And now people who don't even like Snyder are supporting this. So really, Warner Brothers have got no choice but to release the Snyder Cut. I shall see you in the next video. It's been really fun doing this one. See you later.